Thank you for choosing a Hilleberg tent. This film is a supplement to the instruction booklet. We recommend that you both read the booklet carefully as well as practice handling the tent before your first backcountry trip. The Altai is a very versatile and durable tent when used correctly, but it does require proper care and handling in order to function optimally. While pitching the tent, make it a habit to work in a kneeling position and to always put away loose bags so they don't blow away. It's also important to secure the tent against the wind to your backpack or elsewhere with one of the guylines. Place the ground pegs in your pocket, as they need to be close at hand while pitching the tent. If the weather turns foul, it's beneficial to have learned the setup routines. The site selected should be as level as possible and free from any objects that might damage your tent. To prevent the risk of water collecting under the floor and to get better tension on the tent, it's advantageous to choose a place that is slightly convex. During the winter, you can create a level and stable base for the tent by packing and smoothing the surface of the snow with your skis and allowing it to refreeze. On the Altai, there is a cross-reaching ground strap, which makes for a better pitch. Lay the tent on the ground and secure one of the color-coded ends with a ground peg. Find the mate on the opposite side of the shelter, pull it out, and peg it down. Repeat with the remaining pair of color-coded points. Pegging these points first stretches out the internal ground strap. It's a good idea to look underneath the shelter to make sure that the strap is tight. Peg down the remaining 4 points. Press all the ground pegs down at a 45-degree angle until only the very top of the peg remains visible. Otherwise, it risks being pulled up by heavy wind. If you can't get them into the ground by hand, then push or hammer them down with a stone, but do not step on them. If pitching the tent in snow or in sand, Hilleberg's longer and wider snow and sand pegs can replace the pegs that accompanied your Altai. For maximum longevity and durability of your tent poles, it's important that you're careful with them and that you put them together one section at a time. Make sure that each segment is seated properly and that they don't drift apart while pitching the tent. A small gap can lead to pole breakage. The Altai can be set up with Hilleberg Altai poles, which is provided in the extended Altai package or is sold as an accessory. It can also be pitched with skis or trekking poles. Push one end of a pole into one of the sewn-in pole holders that are adjacent to the peg rings on the bottom of the tent. Put the other end of the pole into the pole holder attachment and tighten the pole holder tensioning strap until it's tight. Make sure the guyline is at the longest setting, then wrap the guyline attachment around the pole. Pull and peg down the guyline. Repeat this process, starting with the pole directly across from the first pole placed, then continue with the remaining poles. Guylines brace the tent best if they're as long as possible. They should be placed so that the tent is optimally stabilized in all directions. Make sure to insert the ground pegs securely. The most common reason for tent damage is poor anchoring. When all 8 side poles are set up, adjust the sidewall guylines to ensure good tensioning. Go inside the tent and place the pole in the support pocket. Stand the pole up and tighten the cord lock on the bottom of the pocket tight around the pole. Using the adjustment button on the bottom section of the pole, adjust the height of the pole until there is a reasonable tension on the roofline. You can disconnect the ground strap and move it aside when the tent is pitched. In snowy conditions, this is necessary. Remember to reconnect the ground strap if you disconnect them so that your Altai is ready for the next pitching. In snowy conditions, you can dig a footwell around the center support, creating both a table and bench around the perimeter. When doing so, it's necessary to remove the ground straps. The entrance can be opened from the bottom and is rolled up and secured with an elastic loop and a toggle. Never step on the door panel or let it lie on the ground because there's a great risk that dirt, sand, or other debris will get into the zipper and damage it. Altai has 2 zip-open hatches in the roof, which can be opened for maximum ventilation. The panels are secured with an elastic loop and a toggle. Place the center pole in the roof opening of the inner tent. The outer tent has 2 attachment points where the inner tent connects. Tighten the cord lock. Make sure that the inner and outer tent entrances are lined up. Attach all connection points around the tent. Begin at ground level and work your way up and around until you have attached the points at each of the 8 corners and a total of 16 attachment points. The Altai inner tent has adjustable vents which are fitted with no-seam mesh and which align with the vents on the outer tent. The inner tent entrance is full no-seam mesh covered by a zipper adjustable fabric panel. This can be opened separately by unzipping the fabric panel, rolling it to the top and securing it with elastic loop and toggles. The Altai's 2-part floor can be attached to either the inner or outer tent's corners with toggles and ring. The 2 floor panels overlap to keep water, snow, and dirt out. The floor can be configured using both halves or adjusted according to the needs of the user. Before you take down your Altai, reconnect the ground strap if you disconnected it. When taking down the tent, repeat every step of the tent assembly process, but in reverse. Make sure the tent is always fastened to your backpack or a similar anchor, and ensure that all the guy lines are fully extended in order to facilitate the next time you pitch your tent. As you remove and fold up the poles, make sure to check if any of them have been damaged. Then put them, along with the ground peg bag, into the pole bag. If necessary, clean any soiled ground pegs. Make sure to anchor your tent and stow loose bags in your pockets so that they do not blow away. Fold the tent and roll it around the pole bag and put it into the tent bag. Alternatively, you can store the ground peg bag and pole bag separately. If you want, you can push the tent down into the tent bag instead of folding it, but then you should make sure to pack your pole bag separately from the tent. Never store a wet tent for a long period of time. Hang it up to dry as soon as you can. The Altai is a modular tent. Optional modules available are the floorless inner tent and the two-parted floor. These can easily be mounted into the pitched Altai. We do welcome you to visit Hilleberg.com, where you can see our entire collection and learn more about your tent. You can also find out more about Hilleberg the Tent Maker, including our history, philosophy, and how we make our tents. Find out about expeditions that use Hilleberg tents and locate a dealer near you. You will also find information, equipment lists, and practical advice that can help you in planning your next backcountry trip.